go. Just gonna talk during this one because of economics. It helps to express my thoughts. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we're gonna see. I've already done one question that looks like this. Yeah, this one. So we're gonna look for economies of scale. I was supposed to say that doesn't look like a question. Well, I guess you could argue with that question. Like that could be a demand question. But I don't think that's a real question. Anyway, there's no further questions on economies of scale. So if there was only one, if they've only asked one question to do with economies of scale out of 25, it's probably a high chance. We're gonna ask it again. Till average marginal revenue, profit loss. How is that even a topic, bro? No, that warning kind of worried me. forgot to clock out yesterday. I don't really understand that. A to economics, thank you.
Hi there, it's Jeff here with a video looking at the important distinction between normal and supernormal profit. Now here's a good example of mega profit businesses. These were the leading companies globally in 2023 measured by their pre-tax profit. Saudi Aramco up there right at the top, making a profit of, wow, just under $250 billion. And then a lot of the leading contenders, they would be probably recognizable: Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, all the way down to Shell and BP. So clearly software, banking, oil and gas, these global companies making huge profits. Another way of expressing profitability is to look at the most profitable industries in terms of percentage rate of return on capital employed. This is a survey that came out looking at just the United States in 2024, the turn of last year. Banking, oil and gas, transportation, software, investments, utilities. So these kind of industries making high rates of return on average. Banks making profits just under or just over 30%, and all the way down to semiconductors making profits of 15, 16, nearly 20%. So these are industries which were highly profitable. Good example in the UK is Next. The reason for showing you this chart is the rise of online profits in businesses such as Next. They're doing a lot of advertising at the moment in the run-up to Christmas. The blue line shows the profits from their retail stores, including those in shopping centres and retail parks. And you can see the big hit probably they took in 2021 as a result of the pandemic. But notice the black part of the chart there, the surge, continued growth of profitability from the online operations. And a good example here that Next is now essentially dominated by online sales. But whilst some businesses make billions of profit, there are many, many businesses, thousands of them.
You see, right? People complain saying that, like, oh, retail stores are shutting down, which is true. They say it's shutting down. that people aren't shopping in store, which is true. It's gone down by about what? That's about 320. It's got about 70 million. But it's not necessarily that retail shopping's gone down so much. It's just that online shopping's gone up. You combine that 320, 184, 404, that's 504. Combined, that's retail and online combined, is around 504. You got you got more than that in just online. So online's being more online and retail used to be, but retail is still alive. There's no sign of it really recovering to pre-pandemic levels. You know what? It was actually falling before that. So maybe it could go back up to pre-pandemic levels. But yeah, it's not necessarily that retail decrease, it's that online just
dominated by online sales. But whilst some businesses make billions of profit, there are many, many businesses, thousands of them, that make small profit.
And what makes less sense is like how during the pandemic, how are they making more profit? People need, that's what I don't get. In the pandemic, people needed less stuff. We were doing less things. Why were you spending more money?
By online sales. But whilst some businesses make billions of profit, there are many, many businesses, thousands of them, that make small profits. So this is the median profit made by small and medium-sized enterprises, or SMEs, in the UK from 2019 through to 2023. This is the quarterly profits, so you multiply by 4 to get a feel for the annual profit. So for these businesses, the median profit is somewhere between £45,000 and £50,000 a year, and there are lots of businesses operating on small profit margins, vulnerable to big increases in costs along the way. So this video is about the difference between normal and super normal profit, really key distinct costs along. Wait. So this video is about the difference between normal and super normal profit, a really key distinction to make in your exams. So what is normal profit? Well, it's the profit earned by a business that is sufficient, just enough, to keep it operating, but not so high that it would attract new firms into a market or to an industry. So basically, normal profit in economics refers to the level of profit that allows a firm to cover all its explicit and implicit costs, including the opportunity cost of the resources it employs. We'll work through an example together in a second. The way of thinking about it is that normal profit is basically the minimum return needed to keep a business operating in the long run. Let's take an example. Let's say a business has total revenue, the revenue they get from generating from the sales of goods and services. Now, the explicit costs are the actual operating costs for a business, the wages they have to pay, the rent, the material, the energy bills that come in, and other direct costs. But there's also something called implicit costs, which includes the opportunity cost of using the owners or investors' resources in a business. You see, if I put £50,000 or £100,000 into a business, I'm hoping for a return, I'm hoping to make a profit, but that money could have been used in an alternative way. I could put it in the housing market or the stock market, or put it in a bank. So implicit cost includes the opportunity cost of the return you could have earned in the next best alternative. Now, crucially in economics, implicit cost is assumed to be included in a firm's calculation of average cost. So let's say you're running a bakery and you generate £4,000 a week, £200,000 a year in total revenue from selling your bread and your pastries and your coffees. Let's assume your explicit costs are £120,000, the labour, the rent, the direct expenses. So you've made £80,000 in accounting profit there, but you've also invested £200,000 of your own money into the business. And we're going to assume the stock market could have given you 10% return. So whilst you're making £80,000 profit in accounting terms,
This makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, obviously, I'm gonna learn the definition. That doesn't make sense. You need to be making at least 20,000 profit to remain open. So you're telling me if they made 19,000 profit, that's a reason to shut down? Like, no, they made 19,000 profit.
you could have put the money that you put in the stock market could have earned you £20,000, but you chose to invest it in the business. So £20,000 is the implicit cost, and you need to make at least £20,000 profit to justify remaining open. In this sense, your accounting profit would be £80,000, your super profit would be £60,000, because you have to take into account the opportunity cost of funds invested. So what output does a firm achieve? normal profit. Well, there's a little circle there on the diagram. Secure, more vulnerable.
Yeah, this doesn't actually help me. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Have I done this diagram? Okay, so perfect. I'm gonna draw the perfect competition diagram on my diagram book. I'm gonna do the short run one. Short run. I'm pretty sure I know. Perfect competition. Short run. Yep, you just got the AR. So if we were at D2 right now, supply would shift right, firms would join the market. It would lower the price until AR equals C. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. Okay. I don't like all this. We're gonna put all of Anki on one page because it's annoying me. Okay. Long run perfect competition. There. Individual firm as a price taker. So why is there explain the characteristics and then the characteristics are there? They are a price taker with aid of a diagram. So because AR is equal to MR, they don't have their own demand curve. They can't set their own price. It's not really to do with diagram though. It's more due to the characteristics of it being homogeneous goods. Equilibrium price and output. Well, duh, which is MC equals MR. Allocative efficiency. That's such a good one. I'm gonna send this to Siram actually because dickhead didn't you message me back? Okay. Additive efficiency in the short run. Additive efficiency is where MC equals MC, marginal cost, which is supply, is where MC equals AR. So it's not allocatively efficient. If I can, I'm just going to highlight the deadweight welfare loss on the diagram. MC equals MR. So MC bro, that's the wrong one. Okay, that's MC. Where MC equals AR, this is allocatively efficient, but they're operating here. So that's a deadweight welfare loss of that. Oh wait, no, I need to look at the perfect competition diagram. That's why it says additive efficiency. Oh, in short run and long run. Okay. So MC equals AR here. And this is where MC equals AR. Okay, so they're allocatively efficient in perfect competition. Right? That's what I'm seeing here. I'm not seeing anything else. I open up a window. I tell you.
Short run equilibrium. In the firm, which is at because that's the profit maximization point. In the short run, yes, but look at quantity Q2. That's where the firm is producing on its average cost curve. That is not productively efficient because they are not at the bottom of the average cost curve. All right. So just looking at the diagram, you can see that allocative efficiency is there, yes, but productive efficiency is not there. All right. So short run, that's how you do it. You look at those 2 points, which tell you that one yes and the other one no. In the long run, they're producing units Q4. And at that quantity, where is the price? Well, the price is here. Where is the marginal cost? The marginal cost is also there. As we've said, it's always going to be allocatively efficient. So at that point, yeah, allocative efficiency, that's an important point to highlight. What about productive efficiency? Well, at quantity Q4, where is productive? What about productive efficiency? Yeah, allocative efficiency, that's an important point. It's going to be allocatively efficient. So at that point, yeah, it's also there. As we've said, it's always going to be allocatively efficient. So at that point, yeah, allocative efficiency, that's an important point to highlight. What about productive? In the long run, they're producing units Q4. And at that quantity, where is the price? Well, the price is here. Where is the marginal cost? The marginal cost is also there. As we've said, it's always going to be allocatively efficient. So at that point, yeah, allocative efficiency, that's an important point to highlight. What about productive efficiency? Well, at quantity Q4, where is production actually taking place? It's taking place at the minimum point on the average cost curve, right? So that is productively efficient as well. We can also say that if they're producing the minimum point on their AC, they must be being X efficient. Yeah.
That's the long one now. That's the long one. Oh, it's only they're only talking about the long one. Let me have ChatGPT. It's perfect competition. Efficient energy short. I don't think it is. Because the way I'm seeing it is where MC equals price. Here, in the short run, if they're operating here, they're selling at that. MC's down there, it's not equal to price.
Hi there. In this topic video, we're going to focus on the short run in a perfectly competitive market. Here's a brief summary of what the syllabus expects you to understand at A2. We'll just check through this, press the pause button, and when you're ready to move on, we'll see you in a few seconds. So what is perfect competition? Well, here's a good acronym to help you understand it and remember it for the exam. Perfect competition is a kind of funny market structure, highly theoretical, with very strong assumptions, and the cost and revenue curves of a representative firm in the market price. Indeed, that then becomes their demand curve, average revenue, which you can see is perfectly elastic, and it's also the marginal revenue. Every extra unit sold will add the same amount to. And at Q1, the price of P1, the cost per unit, using the average cost curve, is C1, so you can see that this firm is making supernormal profits. The price they're getting at Q1 is higher than the unit cost, and they're making a profit. Now, not every firm necessarily makes a profit. Perfect competition in the short run. It depends on obviously their costs, because they've all accepted the same price. Quick word about the shutdown price. We'll probably do this in a separate topic video, but let's do it anyway now. So at this price in the market, let's assume that P1, how good a price is that for this firm? Well, that price would be enough just to cover their unit costs. P1 would becomes T.
None of them are explaining the efficiencies of perfect competition in the short run.
Hello everyone, and welcome for the overall shows us the supernormal or abnormal profit that this
What happened to Kevin? Why is he speaking like this?
making. So your first
Message somewhere around. Oh, you know, forgot I have a book. Book, man. Come on, Dorian, what are you doing? Perfect competition leads to allocative efficiency. Usually. Okay. That is a shit analogy. I shouldn't really be making flashcards like 12 days before my exam. Okay, okay. So where MC equals MR, no, when MC equals AR, market clears, consumers are paying cost, the cost of the product, what they're paying, is equal to the price of the product. Therefore, we say the market is allocatively efficient. However, if we take into account externalities of production, then the cost will actually be greater than what they're paying. Therefore, it's a demerit good, and what they're buying too much of. It's overconsumed. Good. Okay, there's no evaluate question. They never actually ask you to evaluate. Which is a bit scummy of them. How many 25 markers do I have? I did not do this 25 marker. I need to unhighlight these because I didn't do these. I actually did that. Okay, I'm taking a little break. I'm gonna look out my window. these shirts don't do me justice. What does do people justice is those people. Like my science teacher, he can wear any shirt. The guy looks absolutely massive, like he's going to destroy anyone. Me, I don't know massive, but I look. Why am I talking to myself? Okay. So, I think I'm gonna do a 25 marker now. A plan one. But now, I'm gonna look for one of perfect competition. Let me check. When was this spec actually? This is a mark scheme. can't believe I have to use a deep research for this shit. I'll get a glass of water, it shouldn't take that long. Okay, so whilst that does that, okay, so we got perfect competition. I'm gonna look for another one. So we're gonna do all the questions. Okay. Okay. The thing is, though, these are both, obviously, the specification says for teaching assessment of 2021, and this is 2017, and this payment, not this payment, this is 2019. So technically, these questions shouldn't come up like ever once. It shouldn't come up in economics. Anyway, Evaluate the usefulness of perfect competition theory. Explain the behavior of firms in the real world. Okay, so we just want to explain what a firm is. Economic agent that produces goods for consumers. Perfect competition. Notice it doesn't even say use a diagram in that question actually, but perfect competition. Let me actually find this paper. Because the guy, he doesn't even copy and paste them. It's kind of embarrassing. He types them himself. Let me read this mark scheme. It might give like a little hint. Okay, go. There are unlimited firms in the market. No barriers to entry and exit. They can no branch exit, unlimited firms in the market. There's also perfect information for consumers plus producers. Many small firms, all similar size. They are price takers set by market. Due to homogeneous goods, cannot differentiate. Okay, that's like a good description paragraph thing. Let me go through the thing. Oh yeah, also forgot that MC equals MR. Okay, first we're gonna say is very useful in explaining real world behavior. They are assumed profit maximizers, and then I will draw the graph. Okay. MC equals MR, because any production less revenue exceeds MC, profit to be made more MC is greater than MR. They are losing profit. Real world are motivated by profits. It dictates their price and output. And then that is setting up for a perfect evaluation on corporate social responsibility. Non-maximizing objectives, literally perfect. And then I'm going to talk about agriculture. You know what? Yeah, that's actually, they asked 2 of those questions within 2 years. Okay, that's analysis 1. Analysis 2, agriculture replication. There's homogeneous goods, no differentiation, prices set by market, seen with vegetables plus fruit, as you know, a lot of them are Aldi price match. So they are price takers. You know, carrot is a carrot. And due to competition, all firms are honest about production and goods. Nah, that's an oligopoly benefit because of advertising. Okay, let's see what this says. Yeah, but I was gonna say also shows firms' behavior in but if supernormal profits Okay. The fact I had to use a deep research to get this is kind of embarrassing. Bro, what is this cat doing? Bro, there's no way there's a baby cat in our garden. I don't know where they're coming from. But I'm actually a bit concerned. This is in so much detail. That actually looks pretty difficult, you know. That's why I specifically said. Anyway, we're going to evaluate it. We're going to say corporate social responsibility. Alright, that's going to be eval 1. Eval 2. Not homogeneous. Eval 3 is just not realistic market structure. Information will always be missed out. And judgment, to an extent, not really. You have other markets. Well, it's kind of a shit question. I think the evaluation's a lot easier because Doesn't make any sense at all, really. Doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna play a music break. So they can't actually ask this question again. Like, really, they can't. So we're gonna put this ChatGPT. Come up with good eval and good. That's this. 5 each. Can't overlap. And actually, we're gonna look at the old specification. If I can find it. This is a new one. Okay, well, let me make these full screen so it's easier to differentiate. much it really. Okay, this one's just gonna be piss easy. Essentially, it was old spec, evaluate usefulness of perfect competition. No, this what annoys me even more now is that Jonathan was using questions from the old spec to test us. Right, perfect contestable market. Okay. See. Limited firms. Perfect info for both. Limited firms, perfect info for both. Price takers due to homogeneous goods. Normal profit in long run. Okay, so that leads to fixed AR/MR. Yeah. Okay, analysis will just be advantages because super easy. Literally just draw the diagram. Boom. AR equals MR. MC average cost. Price output. We're literally just going to say productive efficiency. They are operating lowest cost. Best use of limited resources. Lowest possible cost at current environment. Pass on to consumers with lower prices, more available, and more equal. More or less output, increased costs. Then the best one we want to talk about, analysis 1, analysis 2, is literally allocative efficiency, because you can go into so much detail about that. Allocative efficiency. We're not even going to draw the diagram, we're just going to say they're going to operate where MC equals MR. So profit maximizers, and this is where this is where AR, which is the demand curve, how much willing to pay meets MC, supply curve increasing due to law of diminishing returns. We're going to say willing to supply, willing to buy, market clears, socially optimum amount produced. Supply is equal to demand. If we think even more confident, we can then put in X efficiency from the competition. And then evaluation no economies of scale. Application no, but Alex Fisher, you'll see say with Netflix 137 million, supply a lot. You say no economies of scale. Many small firms in competition to build size and do a diagram, long run average cost curve. If you have increased output, you can spread cost. You say that. Then you got, that's evaluation 1, evaluation 2, no dynamic efficiency. No supernormal profits, no innovation. I'm going to say evaluation 3 is just homogeneous goods. They don't benefit because they're all similar. Everyone has a unique demand. That's what I'm I think. I forgot my judgment. My judgment's going to be it's overly positive, no regulation, economies of scale needed, in the short run. However, cost cutting may increase risk and followed by others to survive. Who thinks the airline industry is contestable? I forgot how much I bought my CG50 for. I just want to go in the kitchen, make my mince, eat my vegetables, and call it a day. And watch my movie. Wait, a monopoly has short run and long run profits? What? Need to build more houses. Benefits. What? That's outrageous.
In recent years, we've seen a stagnation in wages and a big rise in government debt. It seems to be an era of austerity. But it's not all bad news. UK household wealth has reached a record £13.6 trillion, over 6 times national income, up from 3 times national income in 1980.
Why am I asking so many questions? Let me just look in the book. No, let me look at the price discriminations because I actually forgotten more. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so you have. So I'm gonna do these two, then I'll review the flashcards, and then I'll call it a day because I don't really care. Yeah, why don't I just get the CGP book up on here? I would literally just solve the problem. That makes no sense. Anyway, I'm gonna do my flashcards now. Because see what I can see why people who do these flashcards do like 1,000 in an hour. If you have flashcards like that, which are quite stupid because how easy they are. Let's look at these, bro. Yeah, 4 seconds a card. Like, you're really telling me this guy reviewed cards in under a second? This guy, 10 seconds. That's believable. That's believable. This guy, 4 seconds. It's not believable. This guy's the most believable guy on here. 12 seconds. Anyway. Don't get me wrong, I actually do remember all these. But just in case. Bro, I didn't. I like a crackhead, man.